Namaskaram. On behalf of the Hindu Temple Society of North America, Flushing, New York, Sri Mahavallabha Ganapati Devasthanam, I would like to welcome our audience on Facebook and YouTube to this year's Acharya Day event. To celebrate the legacy and teachings of the great Acharyas, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhavacharya, and Sri Bashaveshwara. We begin today's program with some invocation songs presented by Siri Chikkarur, Vigneshwari Shivakumar, Pranati Bhatt, Sai Vedika Chandrasekhar, and Sumedha Pillai. They'll begin with Ganesh Vandana, followed by Guru, Devi, and Shankaracharya songs. The kids were trained by Guru Srimati Raja Lakshmi. Now we start the Ganesh Vandana.
पार्वती नंदन बाल गणेश पार्वती नंदन बाल गणेश विघ्न विनाश वरद गणेश विघ्न विनाश वरद गणेश सुरमुनि वंदित सुमुख गणेश सुरमुनि वंदित सुमुख गणेश सुंदर वदन ज्ञान गणेश सुंदर वदन ज्ञान गणेश पार्वती नंदन बाल गणेश कौन बतावे बाट गुरु बिन कौन बतावे बाट बड़ा विकट यमगाट बड़ा विकट यमगाट गुरु बिन कौन बतावे बाट क्रांति की पहाड़ी नदिया बीच में क्रांति की पहाड़ी नदिया बीच में अहंकार की लाट अहंकार की लाट मदमक्षर का मेघ बरसता मदमक्षर का मेघ बरसता माया पवन बह जाए माया पवन बह जाए गुरु बिन कौन बतावे बाट काम क्रोध दो पारत ताने काम क्रोध दो पारत ताने लोभ चोर संगाट लोभ चोर संगाट कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो क्यों तरना ये घाट क्यों तरना ये घाट गुरु बिन कौन बतावे बाट मन में प्रेम भरो गुरु का ध्यान करो मन में प्रेम भरो गुरु का ध्यान करो गुरु का ध्यान सुनो सद्गुरु का चरण पादो गुरु का ध्यान करो सद्गुरु का चरण पादो मन में प्रेम भरो गुरु का ध्यान करो अम्बा भवानी शरदे जगदम्बा भवानी शरदे अम्बा भवानी शरदे जगदम्बा भवानी शरदे शंकर पूजित शरदे हंसवाहिनी शरदे हंसवाहिनी शरदे अम्बा भवानी शरदे जगदम्बा भवानी शरदे अम्बा भवानी शरदे जगदम्बा भवानी शरदे शंकर गुरो जय शंकर गुरो 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 षण्मद स्थापक शंकर गुरो षण्मद स्थापक शंकर गुरो कालडिवासा शंकर गुरो कालडिवासा शंकर गुरो कामाक्षी रूपणे शंकर गुरो कामाक्षी रूपणे शंकर गुरो काञ्चीपीठेश्वर शंकर गुरो काञ्चीपीठेश्वर शंकर गुरो शंकर गुरो जय शंकर गुरो शंकर गुरो जय शंकर गुरो सद्गुरु नादने वा 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 सद्गुरु नादने वा 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 सच्चिदानंदने वा 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 सच्चिदानंदने वा 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 सर्वदयालने वा 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 सर्वदयालने वा 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 शंकर कृपाकर वा 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 शंकर कृपाकर वा 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 सद्गुरु नादने वा 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 चंद्रशेखर इंद्र सरस्वती सद्गुरो जय पाहि मां चंद्रशेखर इंद्र सरस्वती सद्गुरो जय पाहि मां मंदहास मुहारविंद कृपानिधे मंदहास मुहारविंद कृपानिधे कृपानिधे जय पाहि मां कृपानिधे जय पाहि मां दयानिधे जय रक्ष मां दयापदे जय रक्ष मां चंद्रशेखर इंद्र सरस्वती सद्गुरो जय पाहि मां मानस भजरे गुरु शरणं दोस्तर भव सागर तरणं गुरु महाराज गुरु जय जय स्वामीनाथ सद्गुरु जय जय ओम नमो भवाय ओम नमो भवाय ओम नमो भवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमः ओम अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुण शिवो मानस भजरे गुरु चरणं दुस्तर भव सागर तरणं
Now we begin presentations by students of Ganesha Pathshala. The first one by Ragharam Kumar will be focused on Sri Adi Shankaracharya. The second one by Vigneshwari Shivakumar will be focused on Sri Ramanujacharya.
Namaskaram. I'm Raghav and I'm going to be talking about Sri Adi Shankaracharya. There are four main acharyas in Hinduism. Sri Shankaracharya is the first and the most well-known all over India who lived during the 1st century. Adi means first. Since he is the first Shankaracharya, he is known as Adi Shankara. He came at a time when Hinduism was becoming less popular. Many people were leaving Hinduism. He went around India on foot debating with people and telling everyone how wonderful Hinduism is. This made people stay as Hindus. Lord Shiva came in Acharya's parents Aryambal and Shivaguru's dream and asked them to choose between an ordinary child with a long life or a very special divine child with a short life, and they chose the special child. They named him Shankara, who is the incarnation of Lord Shiva himself. Shankara's father died when he was very young. Shankara wanted to become a sannyasi and leave home, but his mom would not give him permission. At 8, when Shankara went to bathe in the river with his friends, he was dragged into the river by a crocodile. His friends ran to bring his mother to the river. Shankara felt that he was going to die by being eaten by the crocodile. He wanted to at least die as a sannyasi. He begged his mother to allow him to become a sannyasi, and she agreed. Suddenly the crocodile released his leg and he did not die. Shankara left his mother and promised to return when she needed him, and he did return when her mother was in her deathbed. Govindapada had been told by his guru that a brilliant boy would come one day and become his disciple and change everything. Govindapada was waiting for Shankara to come to him. When Govindapada asked Shankara who he was, Shankara said he was just an Atma, or a soul. Govindapada immediately accepted Shankara as his disciple and initiated him into sannyasa. Adi Shankara consolidated the principle of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita literally means non-duality. The idea of Advaita philosophy is that Brahman, God, alone is ultimately real, and that this world is an illusionary appearance, or Maya. And most important of all, the true self, or Atman, is not different from the Brahman. Like how the river flows into the ocean and becomes the ocean, the soul's true self will become one with the Brahman ultimately. Shankara is most known for his systematic reviews and commentaries called Bhashyams on ancient Indian texts such as the Vedas, 12 Upanishads, Vishnu Sahasranaman, and the Bhagavad Gita, to mention a few. Shankara's masterpiece of commentary is the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, which is a fundamental text of the Vedanta school of Hinduism. Sri Adi Shankara composed 72 devotional and meditative hymns like Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate, the famous Shiva Panchamaktam Stotram praises Shiva and the power of the 5 sacred syllables in Namah Shivaya, Soundarya Lahari on goddess Parvati and said to build our mental stability, concentration and willpower, and Nirvana Shatakam, which is the answer that Adi Shankara gave to the question, who am I, when asked by a sage. Shankara had established 4 Shankara Mat centers headed by his disciples, so the wisdom of our scriptures and its teachings would not get lost. Each center has a leader, and they have been teaching for almost 1,230 years. He has also established several temples and reformed many existing temples' religious practices. In 1820, at the age of 32, he attained Mahasamadhi and merged with God in Kanchipuram. Finally, I would like to share my takeaway from Adi Shankaracharya's teachings by explaining it through a small example. Brahman, or God, is like sunlight. All Atmans, or souls, are like our eyes. Though our eyes are capable of seeing, it cannot see anything in the dark. It needs sunlight every moment to see the things around it. Likewise, though the Atman, or soul, is a conscious being, it cannot function without the supreme consciousness, or the Brahman. Ultimately, when enlightened, the Atmans, or souls, becomes the sunlight that is Brahman himself. To become enlightened, one must perform duties as prescribed by the Hindu scriptures to the best of our abilities, have no attachment to worldly desires, keep company of noble and saintly persons, cultivate and practice the calmness of the mind through yoga and meditation, And finally, we should not identify ourselves with the perishable physical body and realize that we are the ever pervading Atmans. Finally, I would like to end with a stotram from Nirvana Shatakam of Sri Adi Shankara. Mano buddhi ankara chittani naham na cha shrota jivve na cha grana netra na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayo chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. The meaning is, I am not the mind, the intellect, the ego, or the memory. I am not the ears, the skin, the nose, or the eyes. I am not space, nor earth, not fire, water, or wind. I am the form of consciousness and bliss. I am the eternal Shiva. Namaskaram and thank you.
Namaskaram everyone. My name is Vigneshwari Shivakumar and I will be talking about Sri Ramanujacharya. Yo nityam achyutapadambuja yugma rugma vyamohatastaditarani trunaya minehe asmadguror bhagavatosya dayaikya sindhoho Ramanujasya charanau sharanam prapatye Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. In our Hindu philosophy, there are three main Acharyas. The three of them were Sri Shankaracharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, and Sri Madhvacharya. All three of them have written important works that contributed to our Hindu philosophy. And one of the main guru was Sri Ramanujacharya. Sri Ramanujacharya was born in 1017 AD in Sri Perambuttur, Tamil Nadu, to Keshava Somyaji and Kantimati. When he was born, he had markings on his body which made him resemble Lakshmana, Lord Rama's brother. That's why he was named Ramanuja, Rama Anuja. Ramanuja is also considered as an incarnation of Adi Sesha, the five-headed snake of Lord Vishnu. Sri Ramanujacharya was a Vaishnava. This meant that he thought of God as Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. Throughout his life, he composed many songs on Vishnu and spread the philosophy of Vaishnavism. His famous works are Vedartha Sangraha, which means the summary of the Vedas, Sri Bhashya, a commentary on the Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and others. Even as a kid, he had great bhakti and devotion to the Lord. He was very intelligent and had the ability to learn things fast. He would always be near other bhaktas and listen to what saints were saying. Ramanuja studied under many gurus or teachers. His first guru was Sri Yadava Prakasha. His second guru was Tirukachi Nambi and his third guru was Yamunacharya. As a student, Ramanuja was very curious, humble and determined. There was this one time when Ramanuja wanted to learn the Moola Ashtakshara mantra. This mantra was known by Sri Nambi of Tirukoshtiyur. Here, Ramanuja learned something very important that we should also apply in our lives. So the story starts as Ramanuja knocks on Sri Nambi's door. When Nambi asked, "Who is it?" Ramanuja replied, "Naan Ramanujan." In Tamil, this means, "I am Ramanuja." Instead of letting him in, Nambi replies, "Naan setta piraguva." In Tamil, this means, "Come after I die." So every time Ramanuja would knock, he would say, "I am Ramanuja," and Nambi would reply, "Come after I die." So he tried 17 times and he would get the same answer. So then he realized what his mistake was. And he realized that whenever he said who he would say using the word I. So this meant that he was expressing his ego. So then he knocked for the 18th time and said, Adiyen Ramanuja Dasan. This translates to, Your humble servant Ramanuja. From this, we can learn that we too must not have ego in life and be humble to others. So Nambi let him in, happily accepted as a student, and he taught him the Mula Ashtakshar Mantram, which is Om Namo Narayanaya. He told Ramanuja to not tell this mantram to anyone. But Ramanuja thought that by sharing this mantra, everyone can develop bhakti and reach Vaikuntha. So one day, Ramanuja went to the top of the temple and called all of the villagers. Despite his guru's orders, he told them all of this special mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya. When Nambi came to know of this, he was very furious. When he asked why did Ramanuja do this, Ramanuja explained that he would happily go to Naraka while those 1,000 villagers were able to develop bhakti and reach Vaikuntha. So then Nambi realized what a great personality Ramanuja had and became his student. Sri Ramanujacharya lived for about 120 years. He spread his teachings on Narayana, composed many verses, taught the Prabandhas, and wrote many works on daily worship. His contribution is still here today, and by his work we are all able to understand the philosophy about how to get closer to Bhagavan. Shri Ramanujasya charanau sharanam prapatye Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav and Vigneshwari. Continuing on our presentations from the students of Ganesh Patashala, we have our next speaker, Nitin Mahadevan, who will speak on Sri Madhavacharya, which will be followed by Siri Chikkarur, who will speak on Sri Basavesha.
Namaste. My name is Nitin Mahadevan and I'm going to talk about Madhvacharya today. This is a brief overview of Madhvacharya's life. Madhvacharya, as many of you may know, was an Indian philosopher in the 13th century. He was born on the west coast of Karnataka and was given the original name Vasudeva at birth. Madhvacharya had his Upanayanam at the very early age of 7. He then joined Brahma Sampradaya Guru Achyuta Prekshant and became a sannyasi during his teenage years. During his time as a sannyasi, Madhvacharya studied many holy books and scriptures such as the Upanishads and Vedas alongside his guru. He often argued with his guru on whether the soul or Atma were the same or different from ultimate God or Vishnu. The difference in belief led Madhvacharya to leave the monastery and he found the Dvaita school of Vedanta. This is where he spread his teachings on the principle that the soul or Atma was in fact different from the ultimate reality or God, Vishnu. Madhvacharya then went on to write books on his analyses of holy books and scriptures that he studied when he was a sannyasi. Madhvacharya then passed away in Udupi in 1317 AD. Madhvacharya's beliefs. Madhvacharya's beliefs were all based around the fact that the soul or Atma were different from the ultimate God or Vishnu. This is the same topic of non-dualism that Madhvacharya had argued about with his guru back when he was a sannyasi. This argument is what led Madhvacharya to leave the monastery and create what he thought was a better path for society. This turned out to be the Dvaita school of Vedanta, where Madhvacharya spread his beliefs. Madhvacharya's works. During his time, Madhvacharya wrote many books and other works. He wrote commentaries on the Brahma Sutras as well as the Upanishads. He also wrote a few srotas such as the Narasimha Nakastuti. Madhvacharya also did 2 works on the Mahabharatam and 1 on the Vedas. We will now look at some quotes from Madhvacharya. The first quote is, "Inference becomes a source of knowing when it is backed by perception and scriptures, otherwise it nowhere has conclusiveness." In this quote, Madhvacharya says that inferences should only be used as a source of information for something when they are backed by your perception from experiences from yourself or others, or scriptures that can help validify your inference. This may seem like it's very obvious, but people make this mistake more often than they think. The second quote is, "It is inquisition which ultimately leads to self-realization." In this quote, Madhvacharya says that the only way to attain self-realization is by asking countless questions. The way I perceived this quote was that asking questions and getting answers from others is the best way to improve upon yourself and attain the best possible version of yourself. Based on other people's experiences and mistakes, you can ask them questions in order to avoid these mistakes and to better yourself, which gets you one step closer to realizing the best form of yourself. Madhvacharya's effect. Madhvacharya's teachings are now thought of as very wise among the world. His views on Atma and Vishnu differed from most people in his time. However, this didn't stop Madhvacharya from spreading his thoughts about how he thought the two were in fact different. His books and songs are read by many people throughout the world, and his beliefs are common practice among many Hindus today. Madhvacharya is widely respected not only by the Hindu community, but also by many philosophers all around the world. Thank you.
Namaste. My name is Acharya, and today I'll be talking about Basavanna. Born in 1105 and now known Basavanna Bagewadi, Basavanna, otherwise known as Basava, was a 12th century Indian philosopher, statesman, Kannada poet in the Shiva-focused Bhakti movement, and a social reformer during the reign of the Kalachuri dynasty King Bijala I in Karnataka, India. His parents were Madarasa and Madalambike, whom both belonged to a Smartha Brahmin community. Basava had two wives, Gangambike and Neelambike. Basava fought against all social evils of his time, such as the caste system and the ritual practices of Hinduism. He was a great humanitarian who advocated a new way of life, in which divine experience was at the center of life and where caste, gender, and social distinctions carried no special importance. The cornerstone of his movement was the firm monotheistic belief in God as the absolute and universal supreme self-identified as Lord Shiva, and the equality and dignity of all individual beings irrespective of their social and gender status. Aside from serving the people as a great reformer and a great mystic, he also served as the prime minister of the southern Kalachuri Empire in South India and originated a literary revolution by introducing Vachana Sahitya. Through his revolutionary ideas and actions against social evils, Basava stirred a lot of controversy. By allowing untouchables to have lunch with him and praising a marriage between a Brahmin woman and an untouchable man, he invoked the ire of the orthodox members of society who appealed to King Bijala with complaints, allegations, and accusations. The king didn't want to offend the orthodox members of the society and invoke their displeasure, so he ordered the newly married couple to be harshly punished. Before punishing them, he asked Basavarna to agree with the caste system, but Basava did not relent. He believed that the married couple were Lingayats, and the rules of the caste system aren't applicable to them. The king wasn't pleased with his argument and proceeded with punishing the couple. After that unpleasant event, Basavarna left Kalyana with a heavy heart and marched towards Kudala Sangama. Basavarna said that the roots of social life are embedded not in the cream of the society, but in the scum of the society. It is his witty way of saying that the cow doesn't give milk to him who sits on its back, but it gives milk to him who squats at its feet. Basava believed that man becomes great not by his birth, but by his worth to the society. He believed in the dignity of man and the belief that a common man was as good as a man of status. He proclaimed that all members of the state were laborers, equating the intellectual laborers socially with the manual laborers. He set an example by practicing the ideals he preached and followed a rigid discipline. He emphasized the importance of self-purification and tried to raise the moral standards of people in society. He also taught the dignity of manual labor, declaring work as worship. He insisted that every type of manual labor, including these menial tasks which were held in contempt by people, should be looked upon with love and reverence. Basavanna died in 1167. To this day, people still recognize his vachanas and legacy. I would now like to end this presentation with one of Basavanna's vachanas, known as Vachanadalli Namamritatumbi. Vachanadalli Namamritatumbi Nayanadalli Nimma Muruti Tumbi Manadalli Nimma Nenahu Tumbi Kiriyalli Nimma Kiruti Tumbi Kudala Sangama Deva Nimma Charana Kamala Dolaganu Tumbi Vachanadalli Namamrita Tumbi Nayanadalli Nimma Muruti Tumbi Vachanadalli Namamrita Tumbi.
Thank you, Nitin and Siri. We conclude today's event with a saxophone performance by Shishir Kumar. Shishir Kumar has been trained in Carnatic music from a very young age under various gurus in India and USA. Showing interest in instrumental classical music, Shishir started training under guidance of Guru Sri Janardhan. During his summer visits to India, he also trained under Sri Kadri Gopalnath. Much sought after performer in USA and abroad, Shishir has received various awards and accolades from many organizations like All India Radio and Cleveland Tyagaraja Festival, USA. With great pleasure, we welcome Shishir to present as part of our Acharya Day celebrations today.
Namaskar. My name is Shishir Kumar and I'm a Carnatic saxophone musician from New Jersey, USA. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to take part in this Acharya Day celebrations. Hope you enjoy.
It was a very soulful performance by Shishir. On behalf of the Hindu Temple Society of North America, I would like to thank Shishir for his fabulous performance. Also wish to thank our Ganesha Patashala students, singers and presenters and their teachers. Last but not the least, our audience on Facebook and YouTube. Please continue to support the temple, donate generously and participate in future events. Thank you. Namaskar.